Hey, as many of you know, I happen to be a film critic, and because of that, I recently saw this movie called La Vie en Rose, a French film about famous French singer Edith Piaf. Maybe you've heard of her, maybe you haven't. She isn't quite as well known in America as she is in France. A friend of mine recently sort of compared her. He sort of said she was like the French Elvis Presley. Now, he didn't mean that in the way that her style is similar to Elvis, because the way she sings is very, very different. But what he meant was that uh, she's like Elvis in the sense that she's a national icon, that everyone in France knows who she is, even though she died in 1963. Young French school children know about her, they know who she is, in the same way that young Americans today know who Elvis Presley was, even though he died 30 some odd years ago. He's a national icon. So in that sense, Edith Piaf is the French Elvis. And there's advantages to that if you're French, so you can understand this movie La Vie en Rose, because the makers of the movie don't have to explain too much to their audience, assuming a French audience. However, if, like me, you're an American and you only know Edith Piaf only kind of cursorily, maybe you've come across her music once or twice in passing, and you don't know too much about her life, this movie is going to be a problem for you, because maybe it wasn't aimed at American audiences, I don't know, but I can only react to it as an American because that's what I am. And the problem is that the movie doesn't explain a lot. I think in some ways it kind of to celebrate her and is a tribute to her, but it isn't a biopic in the traditional sense. I think I was going into the movie expecting a biopic. I think that's the way the movie was marketed. That's what I think most people in the audiences were expecting. But instead, what you got is a series of episodes that don't follow in order. Now, in a normal biopic, you've probably seen many of them, although there may be flashbacks involved, they basically show you how the main character or historical figure gets from here to here to here to here, and it's clear, it makes progression, it makes sense, you can understand why a character is the way that character is because of the events that happen to them in their life. But La Vie en Rose doesn't do that. It's just all jumbled up. It starts out, there's an opening scene, I think 1957, I think is the date. And then all of a sudden, it's 1918, and she's like 5 years old. And then suddenly, it's 1960, and she's at the very end of her career. Then it's 1930 something. Then it's 1947, and I mean, it just goes all over the place. And at first, it seems almost random. At first, I thought there was kind of a pattern to the jumps. I was thinking that maybe it was presenting her early life and then her late life and going back and forth, kind of like in The Godfather Part 2, Francis Ford Coppola shows Michael Corleone and follows his story, then suddenly cuts, and then you see young Vito Corleone, and then goes back to Michael Corleone's story, and there's a pattern, and it works in The Godfather Part 2, but it doesn't work in La Vie en Rose because if there is a pattern, I just didn't get it because it's just all over the place. Granted, at the very end is near her death, and the very beginning is near her birth, but it's just kind of all over, and it's really hard to understand why she is the way she is at certain points in time. And also certain episodes are left out of her life, some things that I found out about by reading an article in Wikipedia. Apparently, she was very active in the French resistance during World War II. That's completely left out of the movie. And another thing is there are certain episodes in her life that are introduced and developed to an extent, but then never followed up. For example, the most glaring of these is somewhat early in her career, her manager, Louis Leapley, I think is his name, something like that, who is played by Gerard Depardieu, is murdered, and she's accused of the murder. And that has very negative implications to her career. She declines in popularity, and she's being questioned by the police, and then suddenly we cut to another part of her life, and we never come back, and we never find out, well, what happened. I mean, were the charges dropped? Was there a trial and she was found not guilty? I don't know. Maybe every French child knows the answer to that, but I don't know what happened. Somewhere along the line, obviously, she wasn't found guilty, but I don't really know, and I would like to. I want to know these things, and that was one of the problems with the movie that I found. Another major problem with the movie, for me as a non-French speaking person, is the fact that the lyrics of her songs, with two exceptions, were not subtitled. And my knowledge of French is really limited. I know like maybe a half dozen words. I know oui and merci beaucoup and faire Jacques dormez-vous, and that's about the extent of my French. So I wanted to know what she was singing. I mean, I liked the music, I liked her voice. Those were good. It was a great soundtrack, but I didn't understand what she was singing, and this is especially annoying because there's one scene in particular where one of her mentors is explaining to her how important the lyrics of her songs are, and that it's important for her interpretation, that she has to enunciate the lyrics very carefully and clearly so the audience can understand it, and then they don't subtitle it, and I was like pulling out my hair. It's like, well, what is she singing? It was just very frustrating. So those are the negative aspects of the film. Positive aspects, there were a number of really good scenes. There was particularly her relationship with this famous boxer that she had an extramarital affair with. There were several series of episodes regarding that. Those were well done. Some of the scenes early in her life when she was raised by prostitutes, she worked in a circus, she was singing on the streets of Paris, she sings the Marseillaise. Those were good scenes. A couple of other scenes just really got to me and I thought were very well done. The main actress who plays Edith Piaf, Marion Cotillard or something like that, was really good. I thought she did a marvelous job of bringing this character to life. And of course, the soundtrack. The sound, I mean, she's got just a beautiful voice. The movie used her actual real recordings, and it was just, that was really good. So there's good parts and bad parts, but unfortunately I have to say that in the end, the movie as a whole kind of falls apart, at least for me as an American, because it was just incoherent and there was too many things that I didn't understand, and that bothered me. So in the final analysis, if you're going to do like a Roger Ebert thumbs up, thumbs down thing, I guess I'd have to do a thumbs down, but well, not quite, not all the way down, maybe kind of like that. Can you see? Not, a little bit less than half. So if you're a fan of Edith Piaf and you know everything and you know French, go have a great time. You'll probably enjoy the movie. If not, you may be as frustrated as I am. So anyway, thanks for listening. I've written a more formal review with more details. It's posted on the web. I'm going to put the address, the URL, right next to this video. It's going to be like right here, if I'm pointing in the right direction, I hope. So you can click on the link and go to it and read the review. So thanks for listening.